All right, what 3 apps would you guys use?
Weather app.
Weather app, yeah. What else?
Instagram.
Instagram, heard that one. What's another one? YouTube.
Spotify.
Spotify, yep. For me too.
Pokemon Go. I would not Spotify. I'd like
Pokemon
to amend
Go.
my list.
What'd you say?
I said I'd like to amend my list.
Anyone else? The Kindle app. You read on your phone?
Well, sometimes. Mostly not, but if I'm stuck somewhere.
Yeah, that's true. Anyone else have any good ones? No.
Because you can get
Grocery, yes, like the Walmart pickup app. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we did deep live chats. We're going to start real basic. Before we go into inquiry, though, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being what the heck is inquiry, 10 being I'm basically an expert, I could lead this PD. How do you feel about inquiry teaching? Show me with your hands, 1 to 10. 1 is nope, 10 is yes, I'm an expert. Okay. Okay. Oh, Jackson, Mike, might be calling you. You're really making my math skills work there with 2. Okay, so we have some experts. A lot of you are middle ground. All right, good. So I like to start basic and start with a definition. On your slide presentation, there's a Jamboard. I want you to post what you believe your definition of inquiry is. So what is inquiry? Okay, so you guys have some good things on here. We have researching a topic or event, finding information, discovery, finding information through questioning. What I want us to do is come up with one group definition. Okay, so let's do that together. What do you guys see on here that you like?
A lot of people said stuff about information.
Okay, what do you mean about information?
Finding or learning information.
Okay.
It's like looking for information, finding information.
Okay, finding information.
To build on that through questioning. Used a lot.
Okay, through questioning. Is there anything else we should add, take away? Finding information through questioning. Okay, thoughts about that?
So finding information through questioning using skills like research, writing, critical thinking.
I'm going to put using skills. Finding information through questioning using skills. Okay, how do you feel about that? Okay, all right. So that's our group definition. And we'll just remember that. Make it nice and big there. Okay, so in your groups, at your tables, I want you to talk about these 2 questions. Your first one is, how is inquiry different than traditional teaching? And then your second one is, what is the benefit of using inquiry in your social studies classroom? Okay, so take a few minutes, discuss each of those. Okay, but we're going to move on. All right, so these 2 outside groups are going to talk about our first question for us. So what did you guys say? We'll start right here. How's inquiry different than traditional teaching?
With traditional teaching, you tend to have more lecture-based, as where with inquiry, it's more putting it onto the students, having them finding questions or answering questions or both at that point in time. So a lot more research-based, a lot more onto the students rather than on the teacher just lecturing.
Okay. Y'all have anything to add? Anything else? All right, group over here, what do you guys have to add to that first one?
It's like inquiry is more them discovering the information, whereas traditional teaching, you're telling them what to know.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. All right, middle group, what's the benefit of using inquiry in your social studies classroom?
So the benefit that we talked about is that unlike a subject like math, our content is it's not as black and white, like there's different perspectives, multiple sides of the story. So by using inquiry, it really allows the students to explore all sides of the story rather than just getting our historical bias as a teacher of what we think they should know and what they should learn about it.
I really like that part about the historical bias. That's good. Okay. We are going to talk about the C3 framework. Has anyone heard about this before? Okay, if you have been in college probably in the past decade-ish, you might have heard of this. So the C3 framework focuses on inquiry, and it has 4 different dimensions, and we're going to break these down, look at these in just a second. It's basically one giant inquiry arc. There is a link here if you want to look at the framework in its entirety, 40-page document for funsies, late night reading. Yeah. So if you're like me, you like to know background. Where is this framework coming from? Let's give it some agency here. So this was created by the National Council for the Social Studies in 2013. It focuses on building students' skills, helps them prepare for life, college, that sort of thing. All right. We are going to look at this framework. I'm going to break you guys up into 4 groups. Okay. So let's do, you guys do 1, 2, Catherine and Jeff do 3, and then you guys do 4. All right, click on this link right here that says C3 Dimensions Reading. And you'll see if you scroll down to the second page, you'll see my beautiful drawings I did. Yes. Okay, so everyone will read the top section, and then you will see your dimension kind of boxed in there. I'll give you a few minutes. Read through that. Go ahead and read through your dimension. You guys are 3. You don't have to whisper in here, it's fine. Okay, so once your group is done reading, I want you to open up the Padlet, which is linked in the slides. What your group is going to do is discuss this dimension and put it in layman's terms. If I knew nothing about social studies, if I'm a parent or someone who's never taught social studies before, how can you explain this dimension to me without using history terms or inquiry terms? So we're simplifying your dimension. Then you need to give me an example of how this dimension can be used in your classroom. Okay, so we're simplifying what the dimension is, put it in layman's terms, and then give us an example of how it can be used in your classroom. Okay, I heard some really good conversations. We are going to discuss this briefly and then we'll take a break. So let's talk about Dimension 1, my Dimension 1 group. Can you explain Dimension 1 to us and your example?
Well, we said that Dimension 1 is the starting off point, and that is having some sort of compelling question to guide student discovery of information, and it can be a question you present to them or that they come up with themselves, I guess depending on their level and how much inquiry they've been doing in their lives. And our example was how global was World War I? Because we call it a world war,
right? But
was it a world war?
Wow, look at y'all, great start. All right, group 2.
All right.
Group. Inquiry questions are non-specific questions that are open to interpretation that can be applied across content units. They're robust and have a focus while still staying open-ended so that the students still have an ability to formulate their own answers.
Okay, did you guys come up with an example? Or not yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
We're working on that.
All right, group 3, Dimension 3. What'd y'all have?
Analyzing documents and resources to answer questions, such as our example was the French Revolution a success?
Okay, nice. And group 4, Dimension 4.
Students take an active role in whole class settings in small groups, like to be able to communicate ideas, especially in history. They want to be able to do that. They want them to gain those skills for real world concepts like voting on a jury or going to the polls. Working with others and using communication skills, using classroom and small group discussions, whole class settings, and then group assignments could be examples. Another example would be like a small group discussion on a certain topic, and a different group is discussing something else, and coming together and comparing the two.
Very nice. So if you've looked at the C3 framework before, you'll notice the mention for can be a little bit like idealistic. Sometimes we're like, you need to get your students, they're supposed to go out there and change the world and change your community. And it's like, that's great in a perfect world. But, a lot of times we just want them to actually read something we put in front of them or turn in an assignment, right? But so through the inquiry arc, it is supposed to encourage them to create a product to share their information that they learned. After we take a break, we are going to see how C3 connects to our NC inquiry standards.
Generate ideas through which the inquiry facilitates change, and it has them seeing if this inquiry process has changed their initial claim. It doesn't tell us what kind of change.
I think that would work. Yeah. Because what's interesting to me is that the first one is very different from the next two.
Yes, because I feel like my read on these is very like get out in the community and change things.
Right.
But the first one, I feel like that one I can interpret it a lot smaller.
And even devise a plan to enact change can be you don't actually have to implement it. You can just devise a plan. But then the last one, organize and take individual action in order to affect change.
It's very civic.
Again, you can organize it like a project. You don't have to implement it, but it does sound like you have to do something.
Yeah. I feel like that first one's definitely.
Yeah.